Azizat, where is my food? The voice rang from the sitting room like a harsh command. Azizat, 6 months pregnant, struggled to lift herself from the bed. Her legs were weak. She hadn't eaten since morning. She wiped her face with the edge of her wrapper and slowly made her way to the kitchen. As she stirred the pot of rice on the stove, her mind wandered back to how it all started, how love has turned to fear. She met Olamide 4 years ago at his friend's wedding. He was tall, dark skinned, neatly dressed, and spoke with confidence. He made her laugh so easily that day, and before the wedding ended, he had already collected her number. In the early months, Olamide treated her like a queen. Her friends envied her. Z, you are lucky oh. Olamide is every woman's dream. They always say. She believed it too. So when he asked her to marry him a year later, she didn't think twice. But everything changed after their wedding. Azizat was still in the kitchen when she heard footsteps approaching. Before she could turn, Olamide stood behind her, his eyes sharp. Are you deaf? I said, where is my food? She answered softly, I'm warming it. It will soon be ready. Before she could finish, his palm landed on the back of her head. You are becoming too sluggish, always using pregnancy as an excuse. She grabbed the table for balance, her heart pounding. Olamide, please, I'm not feeling strong today. The doctor said I need to rest more. He pulled her by the arm, forcing her to turn and face him. Are you now talking back to me? Am I your mate? Aziza felt the tears gathering, but she swallowed them. She knew better than to cry in front of him. Crying only makes him angry. He let go of her with a scoff. Next time, don't keep me waiting. I didn't marry you to be sleeping all day. She watched him walk away, her body trembling. She touched her belly gently. I'm sorry, my baby, she whispered. I'm trying. That night, after serving his food, she sat alone in the bedroom, staring at the ceiling. She thought of her family. Her father was late, her mother was aged, and living in Inoru with her younger siblings. She didn't want to disturb them. She didn't want to admit that her marriage was a mistake. Yet, each day, Olamide made her feel smaller. Every word, every slap, every push told her she was nothing. One day, her neighbor Janet stopped her outside. Azizat, you are losing weight. This pregnancy is not supposed to make you look like this. Aziza smiled faintly. I'm fine, thank you. Janet frowned, looking at the slight swelling on Azizat's wrist. Are you sure? If something is wrong, you can talk to me. Aziza shook her head. She couldn't say it. She couldn't admit that her husband, the same man who smiled on their wedding day, who promised her love, was the one hurting her. That night, Olamide returned drunk. She smelled the alcohol before he even entered the bedroom. She pretended to sleep, hoping he would leave her alone. But he didn't. He climbed into bed, yanked the cover off her. Wake up, I want you now. She turned, pleading, Olamide, please, I'm tired. The doctor said. A slap cut her words short. She cried out, holding her cheek. He grabbed her by the wrist. I paid your bride price. I owe you. You don't tell me no. She struggled, begging him to stop, but he overpowered her. Afterward, she lay still, her body aching, her heart broken. In the dark, with tears soaking her pillow, Aziza made a silent promise to herself. I won't die here. One day, I will leave. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I will. But for now, she was trapped by fear, by shame, by the unborn life inside her. And Olamide, he snored beside her as if nothing had happened. The day Azizat gave birth to her daughter, She thought things might change. She held the tiny baby in her arms, her eyes clouded with exhaustion and tears. The nurse smiled. Congratulations, madam, it's a girl. Aziza smiled faintly. She whispered, Oluwashola, that is her name. God has blessed me with you, my little light. But when Olamide arrived at the hospital and learned it was a girl, his face twisted in disgust. He didn't touch the baby. He didn't even look at her. After all the stress, is girl you gave birth to, he muttered. Aziza's smile faded. She wanted to speak, to defend her child, but she was too weak. Her heart broke at that moment, not for herself, but for the innocent child who has just entered a world where even her own father rejected her. From that day, Shola grew up in a house filled with tension and silence. She never knew what peace sounded like. Olamide was loud, harsh, and always angry. He never spared Azizat a kind word. He insulted her in front of their daughter, shouted at her over little things, and sometimes even threw plates when his food wasn't ready on time. Useless woman. You can't even train a child well. Look at how she's staring like a goat. He would yarn. Shola, barely 5, would hide behind the curtain, watching her father's shadow move like a storm around the house. She always held her breath whenever she heard his key at the door. She once asked her mother, Mommy, why is Daddy always angry? Aziza sat on the edge of the bed, holding her daughter close. She swallowed her tears. He is just not happy, my love. But why does he shout at you? Shola asked innocently. Aziza smiled sadly. Because some people don't know how to love. Shola didn't understand fully, but she knew her father was the reason her mother cried at night. As she grew, Shola learned the house rules without being told. Don't talk when daddy is home. Don't laugh too loud. Don't leave toys when he can see them. Silence was her safety. She watched her mother endure slaps, insults, and humiliation. Sometimes, when her mother cooked, Olamide would pour the food away, shouting, This tastes like poison. What kind of woman are you? And Shola watched. At night, when her mother thought she was asleep, Shola would hear the soft sobs. She wanted to go to her, to hug her, but fear pinned her to bed. She was afraid of what her father might do if he saw her awake. At school, when other children spoke about their fathers taking them out, buying them gifts, Shola stayed silent. She didn't have such stories. She had no stories of love, only of hiding. One day, when Shola was 16, she gathered the courage to ask her mother, Mommy, why don't you leave? Why do you stay with him? Aziza looked at her daughter, one grown into a fine young girl with eyes full of sadness. Where would I go, Shola? I have no place. I have no one. My family said I must endure because of you. Shola shook her head, tears stinging her eyes. But I don't want you to endure. I hate seeing you like this. He treats you like a slave, mommy. Azizat held her daughter's hand, her own eyes moist. I know, my child. I know. By the time Shola turned 18, her heart had hardened against her father. She never called him daddy. She avoided him, speaking only when necessary. One afternoon, Olamide came home drunk. He stumbled into the sitting room and saw Shola watching TV. Lazy girl! Switch that nonsense off. Shola stood, shaking with anger and fear. But before she could touch the remote, he pushed her. You want to grow wing like your stupid mother, Abi? Useless girl. Aziza rushed out from the kitchen. Don't touch her, Olamide. She's your child. He turns to her, raising his hand. And so? She's useless like you. Shola screamed, Don't touch her. Olamide stared at his daughter, his eyes bloodshot. So you're now shouting at me in my house? Azizat pushed Shola behind her. Her body trembled, but her voice was steady. Enough, Olamide. Enough. What did you say? I said enough. Azizat's voice broke. But she stood firm. I've endured you for too long. You've beaten me, insulted me, humiliated me. But I won't let you destroy my child too. He laughed, clapped his hands slowly. So you now have mouth to talk, Azizat. Aziza didn't flinch. I'm leaving, Olamide. The room went quiet. Shola's eyes widened. She had waited her whole life to hear those words. Olamide stepped closer, his voice low and threatening. You think you can leave? Where will you go? Azizat, who will take you? You are nothing without me. Aziza stared him in the face, her voice trembling but bold. I would rather be nothing than stay here and die. She grabbed Shola's hand. Go inside, pack your things. Shola ran inside, her heart beating fast, not in fear this time, but in hope. When she returned with a small bag, she saw her mother still standing, her eyes on Olamide, who stood in the corner watching them like a predator. You can leave, but don't ever come back, he spat. Azizat nodded. I won't. They step out of that house, mother and daughter. No plan, no money, just a heart full of pain and a desire for peace. As they walked down the street, Shola squeezed her mother's hand. Mommy, thank you. Aziza looked at her daughter, tears rolling down her cheeks. No, Shola, I'm sorry it took me this long. Shola hugged her tightly. I'm just happy you are choosing us now. That night, in a small guest house provided by an old friend, they slept in peace for the first time in years. The journey ahead wasn't uncertain, but for once, mother and daughter had each other, free from the shadow of Olamide. Years passed like pages in an old diary. Azizat and Shola started life afresh, quietly, far away from the chaos they once called home. They lived in a small rented apartment, a single room with a shared kitchen, but it was peaceful. No shouting, no slaps, no broken plates, just the sound of their quiet breath and the music of new beginnings. Aziza works as a cleaner in a private school, while Shola got admission in the university. It wasn't easy, but mother and daughter carried each other through the storms. Azizat always told her, we may not have much, Shola, but we have peace. That is wealth too. Shola grew into a peaceful young woman, soft-spoken, respectful and focused. She promised herself that no man would ever make her mother suffer again. That thought drove her to study hard, and after school, she got a decent job. By the time she turned 24, suitors began knocking on their humble door. Young men from church, old classmates, even some introduced by family friends. But Shola said no to them all. I'm not just looking for a husband, she told her mother one evening, sitting on the floor, peeling oranges. I want someone who will value me, love me like you never got love. Aziza smiled sadly. My child, choose wisely. I want you to know love, but don't be blinded by sweet words. I won't, mommy. I will wait. And she did. Then came Daniel. They met at a family friend's birthday. A quiet gathering with music and games. Daniel wasn't the loudest in the room, but he had a gentle charm. He offered her a drink, but she politely declined. You don't drink? He asked with a curious smile. She shook her head. No, I like to stay clear. I like that, he said, sitting beside her. I'm Daniel. Oluwashola, she replied with a smile. They spent the evening talking, not about money or trends, but about life, dreams, music. Shola was cautious, but there was something about his calmness that felt safe. After the party, Daniel asked, "Can I see you again?" Shola hesitated. "I don't jump into friendships." He laughed gently. "I don't mind walking slowly. Just let me walk with you." She smiled. For the first time in a long while, her heart felt light. Weeks turned to months. They went on simple dates, parks. Daniel never pressured her. One day, Daniel looked into her eyes. "Shola, I really like you, but I need to know, are you in any relationship?" She shook her head. "No, I've never been." "Never?" he asked, surprised. She said, her voice calm but firm. "I've never been with anyone. Not because I'm perfect, but because I wanted to wait for the right person and time." Daniel looked at her, his eyes gentle. "I respect that, truly. And I need you to know," she added, "I've seen too much pain in marriage. My father, he was an abuser. I watched him destroy my mother's heart. So if I ever say yes to anyone, it will only be because I see peace in that person." Daniel reached for her hand, holding it softly. "I don't know what your father did, Shola, but I promised you, I'm not here to add to your pain. I want to know you, love you, and grow with you at your pace." Her eyes watered. At home that night, she told her mother everything. "Mommy, I think I've found someone. He is kind, patient." Aziza smiled, wiping her hand. "I pray he is, my child. You deserve kindness, but take your time." "I will, mommy." For the first time, Shola allowed her heart to hope. She wasn't sure where the road would lead, but one thing was clear. She was no longer the little girl hiding behind curtains. She was a woman holding her mother's strength in her blood and her own heart in her hands. And this time, love would not come with bruises. The day Shola told her mother that Daniel had proposed, Aziza danced around the small kitchen like a woman who just won a jackpot. "Ha, my God is good oh, Shola, this is the joy I've been praying for. My child will wear a wedding gown." Shola laughed. "Mommy, calm down. You will enjoy yourself." Aziza stopped dancing and put Shola close, holding her shoulders with both hands. Her face became serious. "Now, listen to me, Shola. Marriage is sweet, but if you don't use sense, you will cry." Shola nodded. "I know, mommy." "No, you don't," Azizat insisted, pointing her finger. "Men are like weather, sweet in the morning, cold in the night, hot in the afternoon. If you want peace in your home, don't let your husband control you without thing between his legs." Shola's eyes widened. "Eh, mommy?" Azizat waved her hand. "Let me explain. If you give it to him every time he asks, he will start thinking you are desperate for him. Let him beg sometimes. Say no sometimes. Let him respect you." Shola raised a brow, half amused. "But mommy, what if he wants it and I'm fine with it?" Aziza snapped her finger. "That is how it starts. Today you will say yes, tomorrow yes, next tomorrow yes. Before you know it, he will start misbehaving. Sometimes, just hold your wrapper well and say, 'No, I'm tired.'" Shola chuckled. "So you are saying I should be doing shakara for him?" "Exactly. Shakara is good in marriage. It keeps them on their toes." Shola shook her head, still smiling. "Okay, mommy, I've heard you." But deep down, she thought, so this is the secret. Don't be too available. She didn't ask questions. She didn't understand the full meaning. She just thought her mother's words like a secret recipe. On her wedding day, as Aziza tried her gele, she put Shola aside. "Remember oh, don't always let him have his way. Even if he buys you suya, don't open your legs every time." Mommy, Shola gaps, embarrassed. We are at church. Azizat adjusted her gele proudly. Church or no church, let me say my own before you go and blame me later. They both laughed, hugging each other tightly. Marriage started sweet for Shola and Daniel. They talked, laughed, and planned their life together. But in the bedroom, something was odd. Each time Daniel tried to touch her intimately, Shola would smile and say, "Let's wait small. I'm tired." At first, Daniel respected her, but as days turned into week, he became confused. One evening, Daniel sat on the bed looking at her after another gentle rejection. "Shola, what is going on? Are you not comfortable with me? Are you not attracted to me?" She smiled, pet his cheek, and said, "Of course I'm attracted to you, but my mother said I shouldn't be available." Daniel frowned. "Available? For me? I'm your husband." "Yes, I know," Shola replied sweetly, "but she said if I give you all the time, you would take me for granted." Daniel stared at her, mouth open. "Wait, so you've been rejecting me because of your mother's advice?" Shola chuckled. "She said it works like magic." Daniel couldn't help but laugh. "Shola, love of my life, this is not a magic trick. I married you so we can be close in every way. We are not dating, we are married." She tilted her head, confused. "But she said you will respect me more if I say no sometimes." Daniel sighed, pulling her closer. "Respect doesn't come from denying your husband. It comes from love, understanding, communication. We can talk about anything, but please don't turn our marriage into a tongue of war." Shola looked into his eyes and saw his sincerity. Slowly, she realized she had misunderstood her mother's warning. She was acting out of fear, not love. She sighed, rested her head on his chest. "I'm sorry, Daniel. I just didn't want to be taken for granted, like my father did to my mom." Daniel held her tighter. "You are not your mother. I'm not your father. We will build something better, but you need to trust me too." Shola smiled softly. "Okay, I will learn." That night, as they lay in bed, she sent her mother a text. "Mommy, I think I misunderstood your coaching. Don't worry, I will adjust before your son-in-law reports me to you." Minutes later, Aziza replied, "Shola, I didn't say you should serve the poor man o. Balance it with wisdom, my daughter. Don't go and make the man suffer." Shola chuckled, showing the message to Daniel. He laughed so hard, pulling her playfully. "I will call mommy and report you myself." He teased. For the first time, Shola felt herself letting go, not just of her clothes, but of her fear. And in that laughter, in that embrace, she began to understand that love was not a battle, but a partnership. Years passed and life smiled on them all. Shola's marriage blossomed in a way that often brought tears to Azizat's eyes. No tears of pain this time, but of deep gratitude. Daniel turned out to be everything Shola needed. Patient, loving and kind. He treated her with respect, with affection, and most importantly, with friendship. There were disagreements, of course, as in every home, but never shouting, never insult, never the kind of fear that once lived in Azizat's marriage. Shola often visited her mother, bringing groceries, clothes, and sometimes just herself to sit and gist with Azizat, who was now living comfortably in a small but beautiful apartment that Shola has rented for her. One quiet Sunday afternoon, Shola sat with her mother, her head resting on Azizat's lap like a little girl again. "Mommy, I'm happy," Shola whispered. Azizat ran her finger gently through her daughter's hair. "You deserve happiness, my child. You fought for me. Mommy, you left that house because of me. You could have died there, but you didn't." Azizat's eyes glittered. I promised myself I wouldn't let you grow up believing that pain is normal. That is why I left. And look at you now, happy, loved, and building your own peace. Shola sat up and held her mother's hand. I wish Daddy could see this peace. Maybe he would have changed. Aziza smiled faintly. Some people never change, Shola. But that is not our burden to carry. We chose life. That is enough. They sat in silence, the kind of silence that had warmth, not fear. Moments later, Daniel arrived, carrying a small gift bag. He greeted his mother-in-law, knelt slightly as a sign of respect, and handed her the bag. Mommy, I got you something small. I hope you like it. Azizat opened the bag and saw a beautiful scarf, her favorite color, deep blue with gold patterns. Ah, Daniel, God bless you, my son. You always remember me. Daniel smiled. You are my mother too. Mommy, thank you for raising such a wonderful woman. Azizat laughed. If she misbehaves, come and report her to me. They all laughed, and in that moment, it felt as though all the years of pain had melted into laughter, family, love. Not long after, Shola gave birth to a baby girl. They named her Azizat after her grandmother. At the hospital, when Azizat held her granddaughter for the first time, she wept uncontrollably. What is it, mommy? Shola asked, her voice soft. Azizat kissed the baby's forehead. I didn't think I would live to see this day. To hold a child born out of love, not pain. Shola wiped her mother's tears, smiling through her own. You are here, mommy. You lived. And I will tell her everything. How her grandmother taught us to fight for peace. Daniel stood watching, his eyes misty, overwhelmed by the beauty of family rebuilt from brokenness. Azizat looked at both of them, her heart full. My story started with tears, but it ended with joy. That is all I ever prayed for. And just like that, Aziza's silent cries became songs of gratitude. She was no longer a woman surviving, she was a woman fulfilled. Endurance should have limits. While patience is good, enduring abuse and violence should never be an option. Aziza's decisions to live taught that protecting your life and mental health is more important than keeping a marriage that kills you slowly. Your children are watching. Children slightly witness the pain of their parents. Shola grew up seeing her mother suffer, and it shaped her mindset. Parents must remember that their actions, especially in marriage, leave deep impressions on their children. You can rewrite your family's story. Shola's life proved that the mistake and pain of one generation don't have to define the next. With courage and wisdom, anyone can break negative circles and create a better future. Respect is earned through love, not control. Peace is priceless. Aziza realized that peace is better than wealth or status. A life of peace, no matter how simple, is far richer than a life filled with luxury and violence. Never be ashamed to start over. Aziza's life after leaving Olamide showed that starting over may be hard, but it is better than staying in an unhealthy situation. There is dignity in building from scratch if it brings peace. Generational blessings start with one brave decision. Thank you for watching this story. Hi besties, what moral lesson did you learn from this story? Kindly share your thoughts with me in the comment section. Like this story, share this story to someone who might be interested. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye!